Big Joe in the house.
Yes, sir.
You're no stranger to the podcast lately.
Yeah. This is funny.
Seems like every time I turn on YouTube, it's like I hear.
But you know what, though? We've been trying to do this since like January, though. So
yeah, every time I would come out, because we kind of were very sporadic with when we come out here. The only time like I'm for sure out here is when he saw me at Torture, which was during the holidays. Because we'll spend like 2 weeks out here.
Yeah, he said, I saw this big mother effer that was
Yeah.
in there. And like,
No, I didn't.
I
Because
said, that was Joe, for sure. Because I remember I see you at the expos, at like Fit Expo, where I'm like, dude, every time I saw you getting bigger and bigger, every time. Like,
see, a lot of times when I see someone, it's like a stage shot and they're all tanned and this and this. And now I see you in there and I'm like, who the fuck is this? Because you're big and round and don't have the tan on. And I'm like, so there's some big dude in here. And then I walked around for a bit and then we left and I didn't see you. And then he's like, that was Joe.
That's usually my best look too, because that's like as of the last 2 seasons now, we'll obviously get stage ready. And then I've always treated that rebound phase exactly like a prep, like no cheat meals or nothing. And then when you see me come in for the holidays, that's literally like my first few cheat meals with her family, but everything's super regimented. And I've always felt like that's what's put on so much size for me, because of that phase coming out of a show.
So now that you're dieting, with those cheat meals, like with your family,
it's not hard anymore. It's just like, like,
no, I mean, is it good? Some good stuff?
Oh yeah. Like, so it's funny. They're very Americanized, believe it or not. Full on Mexican family, and the craziest thing they have is tamales, but they'll have the mashed potatoes, the ham. They even cook ribeye steaks. Like, this is.
Yeah, Angie's Puerto Rican, so she makes all these crazy dishes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like, you go to these family gatherings, but I remember you saying, I caught one of your interviews, and they, you were saying, I don't really, like, off season, you just ate and got as big as possible. You said you were 315 pounds or whatever, right? So.
Yeah. So there's obviously I'll eat as clean and strict and very regimented as possible. There's like a point where even with that clean calories, I still put on a certain amount of body fat, to where now Justin will ask me to hold the weight. And it's like, well, man, like, I'm kind of over food, so I'll just kind of get calories in to just hold that look. And it's a little more enjoyable for me because I have a little more freedom. But yeah, there is a point where it's just, no matter where the calories come from, I just don't look like a...
So you're Lee Priest, like, I know you said you're a big fan of what, dude.
Actually, it's up there.
You ever hear me talk about when the first time I saw him? Like,
yes.
I was like right around the same age. Like, he was a little older than I. Like, he just had his birthday, I think, yesterday or something. So mine's in August, but we're a year and a few months apart. But I'm looking at this guy, like, how is he around my age and look the way he did? It was just crazy to me.
Is he just, from what, I mean, he reminds me of like just being a kid, and just training hard as hell, and just eating what I used to live off Taco Bell in high school, and I was one of the biggest kids in my class, as strong as an ox and everything. Like, I was able to squat 4 plates as a freshman, bench 225.
So you were into the weight training, but were you playing sports or?
Oh yeah, I was a middle linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah, and I excelled pretty quickly. Like, my freshman year, I was MVP of the season, and then they moved me up to varsity. I started as a sophomore middle linebacker and just kind of did the whole thing. And
that wasn't your dream to go to the NFL?
It was, until I realized I'm not that good. Being 5'8".
Were you in California at that time?
Yes. I've always been.
Where?
Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to a little school called Warren High School in Downey, 20 minutes away from the city of LA. But I grew up there my whole life, and even to this day, I'm like up the street in another city, but 10 minutes away from Downey.
So you're going for like the power exercise. Like, we used to go and we had like a deadlift, bench press, squat challenge, like between all the schools, like for early season for football. And I mean, I used to smoke that stuff. I was always the strongest, Yeah. I really didn't even have to go to my max to beat what they were doing for 1 rep maxes, But I always, I watch everyone train in high school, and it was always like for power. You never had any coaching, and that, I think, was the hardest part for my transition when I started bodybuilding, was like, how do I learn, And we used to just read books, and obviously now you're in the social media era, so you can watch the YouTube's videos of like what me and Ronnie did, right? So
yeah.
I mean, it's a little different now. I always tell these kids they have everything at their fingertips that we never had, right?
We don't just fight insurance companies, we train for it. If you want results, get a lawyer that puts in the work. 107. Do you trust a lawyer that doesn't train? 102. Or a lawyer that quits when it gets tough. Pacific West Injury Law. We're built to win.
Yeah. It's interesting because there's things that have happened in my life that almost like molded me to do what I do now. Because like even in football, like the foundation was the bench press, squats, power cleans, and military press. That was our main four. And for the first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, that's what we learned. So I got a lot of fundamentals down that way. But then I got some new coaches my last 2 years, and they, for some reason, I don't know why, but they had me train like a bodybuilder. Wow. It was a 4-day split. It was chest and tries, back bis, we rest. We would do shoulders on Thursdays, and Fridays was legs. And he taught me pyramid sets, like different angles of the body. Like it was interesting. We were some of the biggest kids in every.
And what years was this?
This was 2011, 2012. Okay. Yeah. So my team wasn't that good those last 2 years. The first two, we were a powerhouse, but then there was a decline because of the coaching switch. But as far as like my knowledge and training, that was like my true foundation. And I kind of carried that into the post high school days. And I was getting bigger and stronger and just doing that and just eating whatever.
Do you think the team sports, because this is what is weird for me, like we were really good, but it's like we were like a point away at a lot of games, and it was because someone messed up normally. So I got very discouraged with like the team sports. Mm-hmm. That's why when I found bodybuilding, it was so individual. Mm-hmm. You think it is anyway. I mean, there's a team that you mentioned. I know you have a lot of people around you that support you, but you know, you just go in the gym and it's you against you, right?
Yeah, it's very frustrating when you're like busting your ass and you're seeing people like that are like good, but were never like they never wanted to do the work.
Yeah,
and I thrived off of it. Like I look for it. It gave me a sense of fulfillment. So like knowing I was gonna be that much better, that drove me. But in a team sport, if no one else is like that, you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So it was very discouraging, and that's the one thing like. The bodybuilding stood out to me too was I'm in control of most variables as far as my progression, and that was exciting. Weightlifting was my favorite part of football.
Did you follow bodybuilding then? Like, did you find any magazines or?
So I always knew you, Ronnie, and Michael Hearn.
Yeah,
yeah, because back then when you were in high school, it's like, oh well, Michael Hearn's natural.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so I can look like that. Because back then, I mean, we were like, oh, we can't take creatine. That was the kind of era I grew up in.
Amazing now, bro. They're like creatine's like the number one sold supplement, and they're giving it to kids now for for cognitive reasons, right?
Yeah, and I remember there was this guy. His name was Josh Guerrero. He's a linebacker. He was a junior when I was a freshman, and he had a bicep vein. I remember he was spotting somebody, and me and my friend were like, "Damn, look, he got a bicep vein." He was like. I was like, yeah, but I heard he's on creatine. I'm not trying to do that crap.
That's some dark shit.
It's so many parents used to come to me like, is it okay for my kid in high school to take creatine? And I hear, it dehydrates you really heavy. Yes, and, I had this stigma of like,
your muscles are fake. Yeah. They're water.
Yeah, but there's natural creatine in red meat. So if you're a red meat eater, I guess, I used to tell people like, you can get your creatine that way. And
now you're a creatine dealer.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about
you take creatine?
Yeah, so I've taken the 20 grams.
Dose to 20 grams.
And so when I heard you say there was I didn't know the cognitive side to it. It was just like morning and then
because it just came up, bro. Like now the last couple years that cognitive effect. Like now people like I have buddies getting up and like, man, I'm getting my creatine in the morning and I feel like it's like a cup of coffee almost for people.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's in like every pre-workout too. So I probably get more than 20. Yeah. Like it's one of those like extra things they throw in there. But
Phil made some creatine gummies at one point. They were like you'd want to eat the whole jar, which
is any gummies you like, right? Any gummies.
Yeah, and they make them with a little bit of sugar most of the time too. That's so good. Pre-workout.
So you're talking about your gyms in California that you train at, because I was in that area and you said there's some pretty decent. I mean, you said Fit Nation, like that's where you started. And, I went out there and trained a couple of times, but I always wondered like the culture in Orange County. You said you're kind of the standout over there. Like there's not many. Is there any other pros in the area that
there's
like
pros
of that level?
Well, there's pros. I wouldn't say at the level that I've achieved so far. And I haven't won a pro show yet. I got second in a good lineup, but as far as like Olympians and stuff, there's not really anybody. There's a lot of men's physique guys out there and some classic guys, but like you look around, I'm probably me and my training partner, who's a Masters pro, we're the only like bodybuilders out there right now that are pros. You know Brett Sanchez too, right?
Yes,
like,
of course. Yeah.
See, so like, I thought he was going to be pro by now, but
He had a great physique when he was doing the California and all that stuff. He was a pharmacist that's what he went to school for.
Yeah, and now he does like massage therapy and stuff. And
nice kid. I've known him since he was a young kid. You know.
So he met me when I was the smaller version of myself at Fit Nation, and but yeah, like guys like Brett, there's a lot of guys that are like they'll get in it and they look good, but then they just don't get past that point. And then that's when I came in and I made it to the pros.
And you went to the Mr. California to
USA. So just a quick rundown. Like my very first show I did natural in 2020. It was during COVID. I had to wear a mask on stage, and it was prejudging and finals all in the same go. But I was 187 pounds for that show. I didn't even take Clen or nothing. It was just diet. And then after that, I stepped off stage, and I was in the room with my mom and my family. I was, hey, guys, I just took second. And I was like in the open class, and that's a big deal for me not to be on anything. And I was like, so I'm going to start taking gear. I was like, I want you guys to know this so I'm not over here hiding shit in my mattress. So my mom was like, well, like, you know, I just saw what you did, and I'm excited for you because she's like, there's something about your physique that stood out. And she's not a huge fan of bodybuilding, and she is now. Back then, she didn't know anything. And then I said, I'll do my next show with, I said no less than 3 cycles under my belt. And on my 4th cycle, that was the prep cycle. And I won the California, which was a higher prestige amateur.
What year was that?
This is 2022. This is the first time I worked with Justin Compton. So that was my first show with Justin. I think we worked together for a total of 7 months. And yeah, we won that one. And I think all those guys.
What'd you weigh on that show?
218 the morning of the show. Or no, 215 the morning of the show. But all those guys, I believe, ended up being pro. Andy Paredes was the guy who took second to me. He's a classic pro. He just won 3 shows last year. He's won a show this year. But yeah, it was a good class. And then Justin wanted me to do the USAs that same year. And he said, I believe you're going to win your pro card as a heavyweight. And I was like, well, do you think I can win the whole show? And he said, honestly, like at your size, unless the super heavy comes in out of condition, which does happen, he's like, you're not going to out-muscle him. So there's more than likely a chance to win your pro card, but not the show. And I was like, well, I know what I just went through and just did with some things that are happening in my life. And I was like, if you give me a year, I believe I'll win the show. And he was like, all right, man. He's like, well, it's your call. He said, if that's what you feel like you can do, then we'll do it. 14 months later, I won USAs. I became Mr. USA as a super heavy. And we even over-dieted me because originally he wanted me to be a heavyweight. And he took off 10 pounds that he said he shouldn't have taken off. But he was just like, damn, like I think he's pretty set on being a heavyweight. And he called me the Sunday before the show. And it was like nighttime. So I was on his mind. And he was like, Joe, how stuck are you on being a heavyweight for this show? And I said, look, man, I'm going to win the show, so I don't care if I come in as a super or a heavy, because regardless, I'm going to go against either one. And I'm like, whatever's going to bring me the best look, and we're going to go with that. And then he's all right, we're going to start feeding you right the fuck now then, because he's like, you're starting to get strung out, and he's like, I need you to fill the fuck out. And so, yeah, that's when I went against Zaid. You know Zaid. And, yeah, I beat him in the overall. And I won.
You know what I love about that story? He said, I don't know if you can beat the super heavyweight. How do you fix that? Become the super heavyweight. Well, you don't have to beat him, you are him.
Yeah.
Fit Club started right here at the Strip, off Hacienda and Decatur. The energy, the grit, the place that set the standard for Vegas fitness. Then came Northwest, near Summerlin, sharing the Fit Club gym culture and vibes across Las Vegas. And the crown jewel, Henderson, a cutting-edge space designed for bodybuilders, competitors, and anyone chasing their best self. Fit Club Las Vegas, now with 3 locations.
So that set me up though, like cutting into that muscle that I did, set me up for a huge rebound, how I explained, and my body just blew up. I was 288 pounds at the end of that rebound with abs. And then I ended up doing between there was 9 months between USA's and then the Cal Pro. When I did the Cal Pro, I took 15th, and the reason for that was with all that tissue I put on, Justin didn't want me to risk losing any of it. He really wanted me to hold on to that pro size, and he kind of like decided to bring me in fuller. We're just going to let it fall where it falls, and it became a stepping stone for the following year, which is last season. So that's when you guys saw me go from 15th at the Cal to 2nd at Texas. But I was able to just hold on to that size for a full year. I came in at the same body weight as the year prior. I just looked way different, and I was peeled, and I almost beat Jordan, and now we're here.
Yeah, I know some people actually thought that, it could have gone your way. I know there was, you seem to be like that second place guy for a couple of shows.
Yeah, damn it. I swear to God, I thought I won. I remember like just having my eyes just closing when he was saying the name. It started with a J, obviously, and I hear that. And I was like, holy shit, he just said my name. And there was like an R to follow that O. I was like, fuck. But man, I felt it. Like, I felt like I won. And even after, I felt pretty bad for Jordan because I felt like they were talking about me more than they were Jordan. I was like, Jordan just beat me, but I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty nice.
Hey, I've said this over and over. Sometimes getting second's better than winning because you get the momentum. Look at his career. Yeah. His whole career, he got the momentum that just kept rolling. And even though Ronnie was Mr. Olympia, he was neck and neck with him even off the stage.
It's motivating though. It's like when almost like you can go one of two ways, right? You can sulk in that and just feel sorry for yourself, or like, man, I was that close. Like it motivated me to never want to lose. So I was like, damn, if I got that close, I can only imagine if I just did a little more and zoned in a little more. What could I do?
Yeah, let me ask you that real quick. When you got second that first time, did that ever cross your mind? Could I have done something different?
No, it didn't, because I knew I should have, could have won, right?
Well, you did win prejudging.
Yeah, so I was like, damn, okay, I did everything right. It was just about, Ronnie still had more size, I mean, when someone has more size and they bring crazy condition, that's why we were like in the hunt for the top two forever, And then you have someone like Phil Heath that comes along, right, where he had to develop into getting the size and he had the crazy conditioning, but he just didn't have the fullness. And once he got his rhythm, it was just unbeatable,
Yeah.
When you go to the gym now, obviously, like you talk about that you were disappointed in losing. Like, do you just think about winning, or are you just trying to build your career? Because you're a young guy. I mean, you're young in the game, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, what's your mindset when you go to the gym every day? Is it like, do you want to be the best in the world, or do you just want to, you don't want to go to Tampa just to place. I mean, you have expectations now. I mean, you were second last year. Mm-hmm. Now, like, what's the deal? Like, you just.
So for a while now, the main goal was originally just to be an Olympian. Like, I saw myself being able to do that. And then at this point in my career where I'm looking at my physique in front of me, I take away my face and try to make it as unbiased as possible. I believe I can win one. And that's kind of the new goal in my head. Because in my mind, that was an Olympian physique last year. I'm like, I know I didn't get the on paper title, but in my head, I got it. And in my heart, I believe I got it. So I was like, okay, well, obviously I still need to make that happen before anything else. But I believe I can win one. And like you said, I'm young in the game, and the progress I've made, I just need time to take its place. And eventually I can get there. And so with all that said, it's just the goal is to just make sure that I get better every year, so it's just one step closer to that.
I always wonder with like the new crop of guys, because like the prize money is going up and up. I mean, back we would do all these $10,000 shows, and then it's like, okay, I won these, so I'm just going to focus on Arnold Classic, which paid $100, and then Olympia obviously paid like what $150 or $200 at the time. Now you're talking like Arnold Classics that are paying $750, and you're knocking at that door, man. So is the mindset like now you realize the income that can come from the shows itself? Because in my era, it wasn't the shows, it was the endorsement deals, right? Now it's kind of flip-flopped where it's like you can make big money winning these shows. I mean, Andrew Jack won over $1 million, which is just crazy in 3 weeks.
So my mindset is capitalizing on every win that I have. It's kind of like you went in with Aceto, right? He said, use this money to invest it. So there's so much more money to be made outside of just that check. And that's kind of why, like, you know, you see my face on so many of these little podcasts. The more out there my name goes, my voice goes, there's a face to the body, like a personality to the body, the more fan base I'll have and the more support I'm going to have to keep bringing in more financial revenue for myself and invest that. And so the goal is to make money even when bodybuilding is done, and give back to my wife and son and my mom. You know, originally I felt like, because my dad passed away early on, so my mom doesn't have anybody, and then my brothers are kind of living normal lives and stuff, so there's no one really bringing in that like influx of revenue to be able to, hey mom, like you just live here now. And I felt like if I did something kind of stand out, I can take care of everybody around me, because nobody else is really willing to do it. And I'm like, but I am. So bodybuilding was something I was good at, and I'm like seeing these people like you and Ronnie and all these people that can turn this into something way bigger than just the stage money. I can do this. And that's a huge driving factor outside of just being a top athlete. That was what originally got me into this, to get to this level.
And what about your training? You have a training business.
Yeah,
right?
Personal training business.
Are you doing a lot of lifestyle? Are you doing bodybuilding people?
I do mostly lifestyle, just because I don't want to handle any of that stress while I'm trying to do this myself. You know, so I don't want to put that pressure on.
Are you learning more and more each show that you do, though?
Yes, yes. So it's funny because originally I was asked by quite a bit of people, hey, do you do coaching like for stage? And I said, man, I've only done 6 shows myself. I'd be doing you a disservice to put you on stage when I've had so little experience that just the peaking part itself. There's so many bodies that are so different in how they, you know, even my body every year has been different how we do it. So it's like, you know, like experience to me gives me the confidence to teach it and stuff. So when it comes to training and putting on muscle, I can do that. I can get you ready for a beach look, even just really lean. But that small bit left where it's like, now we're talking about like having an eye for things, like that's something that I want to take some time to do.
One of the few honest answers. You know how many times someone will do one show, I'm a prep coach, hire me. It's like, man, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing.
See, I'll never put you, I won't put you on a prep, but I'll get you in shape. But that's so different.
Do you believe in like eating every 3 hours type program, or?
It depends on who's in front of me. If you're talking to like an athlete like myself, like I believe there's a lot of benefit to frequent eating and the metabolism.
What is your gap? How far?
Typically, it's 3 to 4 hours max. 4 is like really pushing if something comes into play. But like right now, for example, I have a meal in there.
I'm 2.5 hours every 2.5. That's what I did for my regimen.
Yeah, it depends on how much food I have. Like in the off season, that's where we're pushing 3-4 hours. And then in prep, it's like I'll try to push my first meal back for like the first 3 hours being awake, do my fast cardio, stretching, I'll pose, and then I'll eat. And those 2 hour windows are a lot more like, you know, in your head, you're like, okay, I don't have to wait that long.
So you can space them closer.
Yeah, closer, and you're just not as starving. Because man, once, like, I'm at that point where I'll eat a meal and I think about the next meal already.
Of course, I mean that's how it is, man. Like that's how you're supposed to walk away hungry every meal, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm sure that you're in a deficit now. But you said you're in striking distance now, so I mean, close to it.
We're close. We're literally like 1 4-day push of just a low to be right there.
And
I'll just say, talk about the Tampa prep.
Yeah, so I mean, this is actually because it's the most muscular I've been. I'm projected right now, based on how everything is looking, I'm like between like 14 and 17 pounds heavier than I stepped on stage last year, which to me was, I didn't expect that out of myself at all. But it's the most food I've had to eat, or I've gotten to eat, I guess you could say, and then the least amount of cardio I've ever had to do. The most I've done this whole prep was 40 minutes.
So let me ask you, so Paul was the training partner, right? Or
yes, yeah.
So he was saying that he only had to do like 30 minutes of cardio, and
yeah,
you had
man.
your ass on the stairs
Dude,
for like an hour.
it was 100
so
minutes.
So now is he like doing the cardio with you, or what's the deal?
So he says like, so he's pretty much like retired at this point, and so he does 30 minutes right now. But I mean, he's not doing nothing.
I do
crazy.
20 after training.
Yeah, see. So he'll do 30 with me in the morning. A lot of times, we both have clients. He has a few, and then we'll do it together, and then go do what we got to do. But Paul, the most he's ever done since I've known him was like 45 for like a week.
What is his genetics? Why is he so
So he's like I believe Mexican and German.
Okay.
And he was just a big guy. Like,
What's your background?
I'm Mexican and Nebraskan.
White.
I say Nebraskan because that's
he's a corn husker.
Yeah,
I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm the same shit, man. You know, people always ask like, "Wait, what's your heritage?" I'm like, "Fuck, I don't even know. Like, what mix am I?" You know?
I'm like Dutch, Welsh, all kinds.
I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of 7 kids, and like everyone's skinny in my family. You know what I mean? So no one lifted weights. So like, how did you get those genes and whatever? My dad was like 5'3", 135 pounds. You know?
Oh, damn. It's funny, you know, my dad, so he's Mexican, he's from Chihuahua, Mexico, and he was about 5'10", and he was the big one. He had no legs at all, but his torso, like his rib cage, his chest, I got my low lat insertions. That was all him. I remember, like, just his look. I'm like, damn, like, in hindsight, like, that's where I got it all from. But yeah, he was the bigger one. My mom just had big legs.
Did you ever look at some of the other, like the pros? I mean, you're a fan of it. Obviously, you followed everyone's careers. Was there certain guys you looked at, like when you trained a certain body part and said, man, I want to develop look at Ronnie Coleman's back or, you know, Lee Priest's arms, that kind of stuff. Did you ever follow any of the routines or you just kind of find your own path based on your
I was like everybody else, and like you look at like you and Ronnie, right?
Yeah.
You look at your training split on the muscle magazines and stuff. I would look at that, or I'd look at it online. I looked up Lee Priest's arm stuff. I've looked up Phil Heath's arm stuff, you know, even at a point.
Yeah, but those are genetic, dude.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I know that now.
That's why they did the articles on him, because they're like, oh, these guys have fabulous. You know, I used to think the same thing, like coming in, I'm like, man, I got to have like, let's look. I remember, dude, Ronnie Coleman had crazy arms even when he wasn't doing well on the circuit. Like he had the crazy split in his bicep. And I used to do appearances with him at the Muscle Mag stores, and I remember like he wasn't even super popular, but he was such a nice guy. And then all of a sudden in 1 year, he just turned it around and became the best in the world and never looked back, you know?
And that's what happens. Like, you know, with the whole recent events of people comparing me to Nick for the show, like it just takes 1 year to really bring something out of your physique that it wasn't there before. And I don't know why it happens. I don't know if just you make a small like training difference or a diet difference or just your mentality, like even your like at home foundation. Are you good mentally at home? Like all these things play a factor. So it just takes that 1 year to just completely change your whole career. I mean, even me going against Nick, like Nick had that to an extent. His first pro show, he got 6th. And then the next year he was at the Olympia in the top 5, you know? So people like Ronnie, the Knicks, that you from going, I think you were 11th 1 year to
within 2 years, I was like last place to second, you know?
Yeah, and it's just like, well, what was the difference? Who knows? You know?
I tell people I ate In-N-Out Burger every night after all my meals were done. I moved to California, and literally, I swear to God, between 2000 Olympia and 2001, I would go to In-N-Out my last meal and have like 2 double-doubles and a fry, like just so I could get, because my metabolism was so fast because I was training twice a day. So I do attribute some of that, because I remember Chris is like, dude, you just need to eat calories. Like, you know, the chicken and rice and the steak. And I always talk about how clean I ate. But at the same time, like I'd eat that like for my last meal so it'd stick a little bit, you know?
I'm huge. I mean, you've heard how I talk about certain things. Like if you ask my wife, the last, I want to say 3 months this off season, I swear to God, I had like Carl's Jr. right around, it's literally not even a block away from my house. I had Carl's Jr. every single night. So I had 4 bodybuilding meals and then Carl's Jr. And depending on how much I weighed, so say Justin would take a little bit of food, I would just take the fries out. Or like I would have 3 cookies out, I would just take 1 cookie out. Depending on how much the food.
Did you watch it that close in the off season though? Like you paid attention?
I paid attention to, so I've always said I follow the plan 100% until it gets to that point, right? Like in the beginning I said. So based on those last 2 meals, I'll try to figure out how many calories is within those. And then that way I'll go from 6 meals to 5, that last Carl's Jr. meal being 2 meals together, and just eating that before bed, because it was easy to get those calories in, go to bed full as hell, and then wake up and do it all over again. But I would look at the plan as a whole and say, how many calories is this plan? And then obviously, like I said, take those 2 meals and see how many I need from the cheat meal.
Have you ever had Carl's Jr.?
Yeah, I did, a couple times.
I'm surprised. Usually you'd be like, no.
double Western bacon cheeseburgers were my saving grace. And I would always get 3 cookies and a real Powerade.
Wow, you were eating like a real fat kid.
It's 315 pounds.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're that big.
What do you weigh now?
I was 265 today. So the lowest I've seen on the scale was 263. He actually just added a little more carbs just to kind of like give my body a break for a second. But yeah, 265. At this time last year, I was like 249, I think. So
I don't know. We were talking about this off camera. It seems like a lot of people are really butthurt that you're saying, I'm going in to win Tampa. And it's like, do they expect you to go in there and say, I'm coming to lose?
Yeah, and what trips me out is people say I run my mouth and talk a lot of shit. I was like, I was just answering questions that were asked of me.
Well, the point is, you know, in your defense, like you signed up for the show first.
Yeah.
Like that was your game plan.
Since I left Tampa last year.
and Nick, of course, decides to jump in. People are questioning what he was going to do. And now you guys are 2 mass guys, right? I mean, that's what people want to see. They want to see the freak factor, and you're bringing it. And they're judging you on last year's position, which, you know, you're saying there's a lot of improvements. I don't know what you came out of last year, what the criticism was, if any, because your conditioning's impeccable, right? That's one thing that, you know, you've kind of got dialed in, which a lot of people come in. When I came in the pros first time, like I got smoked because my conditioning wasn't there. But you seem to have that down pat. And I mean, is that a genetic thing a little bit, or is it just you really have to work to get? I mean, you carry a lot of muscle, so I'm sure it comes off once you clean up the diet a little bit.
So you heard like the Carl's Jr. thing, right? Once you take most of the fats out of the diet, my body just leans out very fast. And so when people are like, "Oh, dude, how does he get in shape so fast?" Literally, it's just a very clean diet. Like there's no. Whatever's on the plan, that's what I do. There's no freedom. It's just, this is what I'm going to do. And then with that, like, you know, you change out some of those fats for extra carbs. You look a little fuller, you know, you're tighter. Like your metabolism is just different. Things are running faster because it's not so slow with all those extra fats. And then another thing is like the last 3 months when I'm just trying to hold that weight, I don't really do any cardio. So you start implementing cardio and moving the body a lot more, that picks up metabolism. So my body just becomes a machine from the start of the prep all the way through. So you save all these tools in the toolbox to use as you're prepping. And here we are. So I get in shape pretty damn quick.
And you said the cardio is a little less, you know. Cardio is counterproductive. You believe that a little bit? And or do you think it allows you to eat more food? It's changed the perception of it now.
So I do notice when I do cardio, it helps my appetite a bit. But when food's so high and then your body weight's so high, it becomes counterproductive because that heavy body starts to burn way more calories just with a little bit. And so that's why we usually take it out, because now it's starting to be even harder because you're just burning so many calories being so big. And that's usually why we take it out at the end.
We're going into the show, obviously, and it's no disrespect to the other guys because we won't have the list of who's all on the show until Monday of the show. Yeah. So right now, I'm sure there's other people that signed up, but Nick is obviously the big name. Where do you see gaps where you feel you can slide in there and potentially get the win over Nick?
So the thing about my physique is that when it comes to the back shots, because this is one I get hated on all the time for saying that I can beat him in the back shots, Nick has extremely good hamstrings, but a lot of his hamstring is actually his adductor touching, where it's obviously part of it all, but it's just really thick in that region. And there's a lot of depth and detail to my back. Not saying that he doesn't have detail, but I think my back's actually a little thicker, which adds to detail. And I have peeled glutes. I have dug out hammies, and I've improved my sweeps to where it looks even better just for the overall X-frame. My arms aren't as big as his, but there's a certain flow to the physique. And so when I tell people I think I can beat him on certain shots like this, I try to have them see it the way I see it as a whole and not just these crazy body parts.
It's supposed to be a whole. That's how you're supposed to judge a shot.
And that's how I come to
front double biceps isn't just who has bigger arms.
Exactly.
It's from the arms down.
Same with the side chest. There's a lot of bodybuilding is about checking boxes, right? Whoever can check off the best average of boxes is the one that's going to win. Not just this one's great and then this one sucks, but you're going to win because of this. No, it's across the board. And I think the average of the boxes I check per pose is what helps me the most. Not because of these crazy arms or crazy hammies or whatever. So I think I edge Nick out on the smallest percentages of certain details. And just something that I've been really good at from day one is my posing. And it's not that Nick's not good at posing. Nick's an amazing poser. Because I've seen people say he doesn't know how to, that I said he doesn't know how to, I never said that. It's just his transitions, he's lost because of his waist control in transitions. And I've been very good at that my whole career. Yeah. And that's something that I see me edging him out on. I feel like I condition myself for posing a little better than he does so that I don't have that happen. So the little details in bringing in that final package is where I feel like I have an edge.
Yeah, and that's a legitimate reason why you think you could beat him.
And that's why I said it's very small percentages, but at this stage in the game, that's what it comes down to. 9 times out of 10.
And that's not being disrespectful, saying I think I can do better here, there, here, there. Same thing with Nick when he first came in. He would tell everybody, "I'm going to win the Arnold." You know what shit he got for that? You know what he did? He won the Arnold his first time out.
Yeah.
So he the same thing you're doing, he did too. And same thing we were talking about before. Jay goes into the 01 Olympia. If he would have said, "I'm going to beat Sean Ray, I'm going to beat Flex, I'm going to beat Kevin, I'm going to beat Nasser," they would have been like, "Man, you're crazy." And look what happened.
It was 8th the year before,
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming off some pretty substantial placings to do well enough.
And I mean, you can ask anybody that's in my little circle, that just knows me. I'll never talk in a way where I think so highly of myself like that. That's not realistic to me. I'm very hard on myself. So me saying this, I truly believe some of the things that I'm telling you guys because I've worked so damn hard at it. But I see myself every day. And if I can see certain improvements, I know that judging panel is going to see them. And even that within itself, when you look at a physique that you've seen over the last 3 years and the changes are so minute, if any, it's going to be different when you see somebody make some drastic changes, especially when they've asked you to make certain changes. They're going to look to see if you've done it. And just that itself, I feel, gives me an edge. It's like, damn, this guy is on a trajectory now. Yeah. And he's able to do these things, and it's new. It's the whole wow factor. Like, this is definitely something different. And so these little things, I'm trying my best to play on in my favor and just showcase that to everybody.
When was your son born? Last year?
Last year, May 7th.
So obviously having, being a father, and is that the reason you kind of waited to compete to this part of the season instead of jumping the Arnold in those shows? Or
no, my biggest critique last year, the judges literally told me everything is pretty much perfect. There's a few posing things we'd like you to fix, which was like 2 things. And they said, if you bring up the sweep in your quad, you're pretty much damn near unbeatable. And that was the whole focus of this whole season. So my whole philosophy has always been grow it, hold it, show it, right? If you can't hold it long enough, you're probably going to eat it away when you get back on diet. So it was making damn sure when I dieted down that those legs were going to stay. And my legs are the first thing to go if I, because normally I do more cardio too. This is all new to me.
I said it's counterproductive sometimes. Mm-hmm. Used to shrink my legs too, that was my standout body part, but they get beat down, man, when you're trying to do too much, Yeah.
I actually, when I was doing USAs, I said I did 100 minutes of stairs, and it was 2 separate. It was morning and then post workout, and but I stopped doing stairs after USAs because it just ate them away. I was peeled, but my legs were like, I'm so happy I got my pro card. I was like, those were not the legs that I had when I was going into this prep. But so all of the last 3 years, last 2 years, it was strictly treadmill on an incline. And even on the incline, I lowered it down to where last year was level 5 incline. Because after a while, when you're doing it long enough and you're starting to really feel the fatigue, I would feel my sweeps start to get really beat up. And I was like, man, I think I'm at a point where I'm starting to eat away at the tissue, because they were just like, there's a time where your legs just start to feel heavy in general, but then it's like they feel beat up and heavy, and you're losing your legs at that point. So that's something I was in tune with, and I noticed that stopped happening once I started doing the treadmill the way I do it.
Do you normally get ready? Like you said, you're almost there now, and you're, what is it, 3 weeks out from Tampa?
Yeah, last year we were ready 3 weeks out, and
So this
we
is-
actually,
okay.
we're right on the same timeline. The look that I had, it was 2.5 weeks out. I did a posing video post workout, and I actually posted it, and it was on Fuad's podcast. They pulled me up, and they're like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Fuad didn't know who I was, and I'm wearing these crystal blue trunks. So Justin saw this, and he said, "Joe, what did you do that day? What was the plan that day? Like, how many meals did I have in? How much water did I have in? Like, what were my carbs at?" He's like, "That's the look we're bringing to Tampa." And so that was about 2.5 weeks out. So we just mimicked that look based on that.
But you have a coach in your corner that's super like, he's like
Knowledgeable.
Yeah.
no, but he's also like you're gonna win this thing. I mean, I'm
He's
sure.
super blunt. Like,
Yeah.
so Justin has never told me something that was unrealistic, or just like the USA's thing. He pretty much told me I wasn't going to win USA's more than likely, but I gave him a pro card. Everything he's at, even at the Cal, he knew I wasn't going to win that year, but he's like, what we're going to do is like I told you,
Set it up, yeah.
set it up, yeah. So he's a really good person to have in your corner because he won't sugarcoat anything. And I need someone like that. I don't want someone fluffing me up. Even I'm sure you guys have watched some of the podcasts. The things that I'm saying are in line with what he's saying. It's not something he's told me. I'll tell him what I think, and he'll tell me exactly the same feedback. Like, no, Joe, this is very possible. So what you're saying, what you're commenting on these podcasts and these interview questions, like, it's pretty spot on. And he's like, I can't wait for people to see it because they think you're just blowing smoke up everybody's ass. So it's cool to know that coming from him, we're on the same page with everything.
There's not a whole lot of coaches that are at the top level that are actually competitors at the top level too. Mm-hmm. And Justin was one of those guys that a lot of people thought he could have been Mr. Olympia.
Fuad's pointed it out where he said that he's watching Justin do with my physique what he did before his career stopped, and he was like, "It's pretty crazy to see that I'm like mimicking his life."
But living vicariously through you.
Yeah, living vicariously through you.
Well, then he needs to take you to the top.
Yeah, that's one of those things, right? He had to walk away early, and it's like I'm sure that's in there where it's like, man, I didn't get to do it. Maybe I can have this guy do it.
Hey,
That's
good.
a cool thing.
It's good when your coach is
Yeah.
on the same page and as motivated as you are.
What's the formula though? What would you say? Like, is it eat, sleep, train? Is it the food? Is it the training? Is it the like you said? You mentioned your home life. Is it like, are you crazy structured in that sense? Like when you just go all in, or
So
sleep?
sleep is actually the worst. I'm not a good sleeper. Even today I only had 4 hours, but I was prep. That's just me being on prep. But typically, especially with having my son and stuff, like I'll have the clients, like sometimes he'll wake up and I'll mess my sleep up. I have to go train clients and I'll go back home. And sometimes you don't let me sleep. But when it comes to the secret formula, since I was a natural athlete till now, I've always been able to eat. And I think anybody that loves bodybuilding loves to train. So, there's obviously some things you can fine tune when it comes to training, get the most out of your training and like train properly. But I think if you have the heart and passion to train, you're going to get something out of it no matter what. But the ability to put down the food is the most crucial part. People have asked my drug protocol, and I have notes on it I've been working with Justin since the beginning. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing like everything I've ever said. That's exactly what it is. But my ability to eat, I just told you about the calories from Carl's Jr. and stuff, finding ways to make it happen to where like I don't stall out. And I've always been a huge proponent. Before I even met Justin, I coached myself. And I always said I'd rather overeat than under recover. And so I never cared to walk that fine line like where I'm like, okay, well, I have to stay super lean and try to get on as little body fat as possible. Like, I never got sloppy, not once. I've always had abs showing, but I've gotten pretty big where I've had love handles, but I had a 4-pack, but I was never afraid to eat. I was always like, the end game is that I will look better every time. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you got to get ugly to look a little pretty. And so, or get a little bit ugly to look pretty. And I just told you guys, I've never had a hard time getting in shape, but I just know how to flip a switch. Once it's time to cut down, that's it. Like all in. There's no veering off.
That's very similar to you. Like you're one of the few guys that could just pound the food and it wasn't a problem. Probably later in your career
eat,
was.
it's hard to be. I mean, especially when you're like a super heavy body, right? I mean, your physique is, upper tier as far as size, and besides going through the posing, and I mean, I don't know how many output calories you have each day. I mean, you're still working, right? So it's like you're on your feet, right? You're not just laying on the couch all day like some of these guys. I mean, I used to say when I was training for shows, man, the less movement outside the gym, the better for me. But they have this whole thing now on how many steps you take each day. Like they measure
I don't
this.
do no steps. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much people count that. I mean, I was moving because I would still work, running business and everything else. So it's like I was like on the go all day. But for someone like you, with the Olympia, obviously in your head, how much would it mean to you to have a qualification? Like now, of course, you have to win. It's different from my time. We used to just top 10 would place in some of these shows because there's so little shows. And now you see, like this year, we've seen a million shows. You're watching all these guys do these shows, qualify. You watched, Jordan this weekend and James kind of go at it. And now James announced, I think he's jumping in Tampa now too, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you followed his stuff. I mean, he's motivational for a lot of people. I mean, he came to one of our seminars, I think, when we did.
In the UK.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite bodybuilders.
He was hardcore.
Like
he could train heavy all the time. And like, it's just trying to figure out his body. Like he's worked with different coaches and this look was actually pretty solid for him. And obviously, you talked about how big Jordan's, his legs are, but think about James's leg because they made him look.
Yes,
James' legs were a lot bigger than Jordan's.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. There's 17 guys qualified right now.
As of now. Yeah, and did they put Samson on the list? Is he there yet? Because they kept Samson off.
Really?
Yeah.
No, he's still not on.
He's
there.
qualified.
So there's 18.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Samson's not on here, so there's 18.
Wow.
Well, you got. What top was it? Top 3. But he's still qualified. Yeah,
I know.
Qualified for life. Yeah, is it Brandon Curry on there?
Is he going to do it or probably not?
His name's not on here, so technically.
Interesting.
And there's still probably another 6-7 shows before the Olympia.
Well,
is Hottie on there? Did Hottie win anything?
Hottie got second last year. Yeah,
on
Hottie's on there. Hottie, Derek, Sergey.
So.
Chineadu.
That's where they have Hottie on there.
So Burton, Fitzwater, Andrea Presti, Sean Clarita, Damien, Mohamed
Clarita
Fuda,
qualified too.
Sasan.
Oh, he did?
He's open. Yeah, he did open in.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Last year, yeah.
Leonardo.
That's so
Prezis
cool
from Brazil. William Bonnick, Quentin, Edward, and Jordan Hutchinson.
Do you have any good friends in the fitness, like bodybuilding space? I know you said you go to Texas and.
Oh, so I mean, well, a lot of those Gasp athletes are buddies of mine. I mean, I'm cool with Keon too. I actually want to see if I may be able to see him while I'm out here. But yeah, Keon, this guy, well, Jordan's one of my buddies, Brandon Barrow. These guys are all part of Team Gasp. Elias McCall just got third in his show this year. I'm friends with that classic guy, Andy Paredes, that I brought up. As far as I know, I'm cool with Nick. Like me and him, he would check up on me before all this, and now I'm just like, I guess we're not buddies now.
Are you gonna? Well, me and Ronnie weren't friends either. We hung out in the off season, we trained together, and we laugh and joke. And then once the prep started, bro, it was like no contact.
Yeah.
Then we showed up at the show. We had separate dressing rooms, and But I get the reports from because we had to go do photo shoots in Orange County before, and. How'd Ronnie look? At Milos's gym, he had a gym in Fullerton.
Sneak the photos.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, Ronnie was here." That was the only hype we had. It wasn't like social media where you can post stuff now and start getting the hype up there. But it's like you're the most hype guy leading into that show. So, this is on. I know it's the one and done on your list right now because you plan on qualifying and going. Now, how many weeks would that be to Olympia, Tampa?
I think it's 7 weeks.
Okay, so.
Yeah, but so.
Enough for a few Carl's Juniors and they get back on track, right?
Come on, can you upgrade it to something a little better than Carl's Jr.?
Last year, right? So I've usually been a one-show guy and then that's it, right? But now as a pro, we're trying to make the Olympia. You don't want to just,
Is that the goal, though? I mean... Olympia? Like you ever like no
So-
matter what? Did you want to
so-
get in last year?
I've always said this, right? I will become a guy that does many shows. We're talking like 3 to 5 a year once the physique is there. But because I'm still in the building blocks of it, like I want to let my body get there so that I can just go into the shows ready. Because I mean, when you still need to bring little things up here and there, like you're kind of almost wasting time. And I mean, the bigger money's with the wins. So that's kind of where I'm at in my head. You'll see me do more shows than I necessarily need to do once the physique is set.
So there's still 6 shows before the Olympia that qualify.
Really?
Yeah, well, there's Tampa, Atlanta, and Texas. That's 3 right there.
Yep. Tampa, Chicago,
Oh, yeah,
China.
Yeah, but
Chicago
Chicago
has
has a men's
open?
open.
Oh, I thought they did.
They used to.
No,
Okay,
it's-
never mind. Then China.
Yeah, it's not.
That's the one that they said Hollingshead might do that. Tampa, then Atlanta, then Texas, then Austria is the last one. Austrian Oak Pro, August 22nd.
Yeah,
So 5 more.
I've always said I want to qualify here in the States before I go abroad. I was actually just talking to the owner of Gasp about that. She was asking me what my plans were. I'm like, well, I'm kind of on the same mindset as Jordan was. He won 2 here and then decided to finally go abroad. So I was like,
There's a bunch of shows after the
Would you
Olympia
go to
this year.
Dubai
A
and do
bunch.
that?
yeah,
Like,
100%.
it's the end of the year, though,
I would
right?
really want to make sure I win one here though first.
because that pays the
Yeah.
bigger money.
Over 100
Yeah.
grand.
Yeah.
And it's Dubai. And Beano's gym will be back open by then.
Mm-hmm.
I just chatted with him yesterday. They've already it's halfway
That's
constructed
crazy.
already. Yeah.
You ever been to that gym?
No, and that's on our bucket list to do.
Well, now it's going to be a new one. Brand new one.
Brand new.
Brand
We
new.
actually, I got to train there before it opened. Like that was what year
Yeah.
was that?
16.
Was it 16?
Yeah. It was the
year
first
one?
Dubai muscle show.
So they barely had anything in there at the time, and they didn't have. It was only like one gym, and then
It was like-
now
so-
it's like
when we walked in, it was just the one room and then upstairs, but they had nothing upstairs, but they had the screens on the wall and all the equipment still had plastic over it. So we went there and trained. And then over the years, they turned the upstairs into 2 restaurants and a barber shop and a coffee shop. And then downstairs, then they got the place next to it. They busted it out. They put a whole supplement shop, and then they put a second gym, and then they busted through the next wall and another gym. They busted through. So it was like 100,000 feet. And it had like 3 restaurants in there, 2 supplement shops, like barber
I
shop,
got a
tanning
good
shop.
idea of what it looked like because of Mike Summerfield. He did a video right before it went down. So I got to see what it was like. Obviously, on
I loved
video,
it, man. I just like, you know what I love? I love every room looked like a different gym, and it had the massive, tall, like almost like warehouse ceilings. I like that better, just the vibe, and you have the massive murals on the walls and the big fans everywhere, and it felt like a modern, hardcore, old school gym, if that makes any sense.
It's the best. Like I tell people all the time, like when I go on vacations, quote unquote vacations, like the first thing we do is look at the gyms in the area.
Yeah.
It's not just like let's find a 24, right?
Yeah.
It's like no, we want to see what gyms and try to scope out 2, possibly even 3, depending on where we're going. And it's just that's just
If I was a pro, I'd move there in a heartbeat. Imagine going into a gym and you just walk in right before you train and you just hand a piece of paper of your diet for the day. You go train, you come back, and everything you need
Yeah.
weighed out exactly how you want it. Take it home.
It's beautiful.
Like, where else can you get that?
someday.
meals.
Yeah. One day you're gonna walk in these gyms and they're gonna recognize who you
Yeah.
are everywhere you go. I mean, that's like we go everywhere, man, and like people like freak when they come in there. You know, it's like you never imagine that you get that known. I mean, we obviously had a transition from magazines, you know, and to have your images on walls, and I mean I'm sure it's like something like a dream to you, like
Man,
to make it, you know.
When I won USA's, right, that small little piece that I got to do, they hung my picture up at Fit Nation holding that trophy. So that was my first ever feel for what that must feel like. I was like, damn, like I made it on somebody's wall. That was like the coolest shit ever to me.
But you're an equipment nerd a little bit, or
Yeah.
like you work on any specialized, you know, because I was a free weight guy just because I traveled so many places. Like every week we were guest posing, which you guys don't get to do as often now. So we would be limited. You know, you go to these gyms, especially like worldwide. It's not like it is today. Like there's so many brands now. Yeah. So like, have you been to some really good gyms across the states yet that you really enjoyed going to? Do you have like a favorite one?
So right now, my favorite gym is the one I was speaking to before. It's called Revival Fitness. That's in Santa Ana, California. That one, I tell them it's like a bodybuilder's playground with like these top quality pieces. Like you'll have Nautilus here, Cybex here, like Pendulum here, like anything you could think of. Atlantis is a big one nowadays. Like this guy just puts together these little pieces based on top of the line, recommended by top pros in the industry. So you go in there, it's like a museum of cool shit. But it's a mix of modern and old and stuff.
Is there something like every workout you use a specialized piece of equipment?
Yeah, so you know how like, okay, well.
Because I always started like incline hammer was always my first chest exercise, always. Like no matter where, hey, do you guys get an incline hammer? For me, to start with dumbbells, it just never felt super right. I did do it, but I always tried to like get some sort of machine to start my first movement. But is there something that like on your protocol that you use?
I'm huge. Okay, so for every leg day, it's like a mandatory, like I have to have a leg extension before I start, right? So yeah, anytime you give me a leg extension, that full stretch all the way through the hip and really gets the rectus femoris and all that stuff, like that's a huge deal for me. Any sort of like, so I really like Atlantis' Pendulum, right? Reason being is it has that adjustable floor panel. It's just so smooth. Like I don't feel no knee pain or anything like that. Hip press, like after the leg extension, I'll do hip press. And because I'm so big at this point, it's the best way to drive your knees up without your lower back lifting and stuff. So that's helped me bring up my legs quite a bit. These little things I'll look for. And so if the gym has that, that's where I'm going for that day. Side laterals, again, Atlantis has a really good side lateral machine. Like I start shoulders, I'll use that.
So you do some pre-exhaust movements quite a bit.
And everything. So
it's how you save your body, honestly.
I'm a lot like you when it comes to training. I've actually brought your name up in a lot of videos as of recently because I used to train a lot like Dorian Yates up until the last 2 years, and I kind of switched over to the volume side of things. And then even this year, it was way more non-failure sets and just expanding the muscle. I call it inflating the balloon to the point where it's like feels like it's gonna pop, but every contraction is so harsh and like precise. Like I'm just super in tune with my body, and I've never burned out my central nervous system, so I can just go and go and go, and the muscle just gets fuller and rounder and harder. So that's a huge. Actually, talking about what I did last year to this year, that was huge, and I put on a ton of muscle doing that. I never used to train like that. I would always balls to the wall like Dorian Yates and then walk away. But I'm like, and when you think about it, like common sense wise, right? It's like you can go all in on one set, but say that one set you get 10 reps, and then say you do another set and you only get 7. Well, what if you did, let's say, instead of all out 15, you did 12 3 times? Like you just got way more time under tension, way more repetitions, way more blood flow. And you volumize the muscle. And then on top of that, you're able to go do that at another angle for the muscle. You just rounder and fuller.
All I cared about was the pump. I cared nothing about the weight because there's so many variables, like you said, like you're in prep now, right? And everyone's like, I didn't necessarily get weaker because I didn't train to that point, testing the strength as much. I just knew I could do the same weight as I was off season. Pretty much, I mean, I threw the heaviest weights in the gym, any selectorized pieces then, like it was stacked out. I was adding plates to it, even like the lat pulls and that stuff. I mean, you get to that point where you're that strong, but it comes with the risk to reward, right? Yeah. Because you're going to get so strong. I mean, and your training partner's been adaptive to that type of training also.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I feel bad for him sometimes because like when I go into the gym, I always know what muscle I'm going to do, and I have an idea of what exercises, but I literally go by what I'm feeling. So there's some times where it's like, okay, well, this 35-pound dumbbell curl feels really good. I'm just going to ride this out. This is working weight for me. And then sometimes it's a 50 or a 30, and it could be for 20 reps. It could be for 12. It could be for 50. So he's kind of just piggybacking on what I'm doing. I'm like, hey, that's a working set, and then he has a hard time. Not like, because he's old school where it's like every set's failure.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. And he'll burn out before me. I'm telling you, stop taking it to failure. Like you are a professional at this point, right? Mm-hmm. You should know when that failure point's coming. Like you just know. You do it long enough, you know. And where it's like I just worked that set, but I didn't burn myself out.
So he's just a guy that wanted to turn pro and never really. He competed as a pro.
So he turned pro the year before I did as a Masters pro. That was 4 years ago now. When he was 42.
Masters is 35, bro. Which is crazy. To me, that's like
well, he
that's
turned
not
when
like
he was
Masters.
40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can turn pro as Masters 35. I never understood that.
I don't know because your prime is close to that. You know.
That's why
that was messed up. Remember when Dexter would do them? Like I'm a master. It's like, dude, he's number 2 in the world. That's bullshit.
Well, that's when they like masters weren't really masters. You know, you were like that
You
was
were still a
40.
top
Like,
guy,
oh, you're
yeah.
40, you're masters. Now, of course, they have
Vince
deeper-
Taylor. He was still at the Olympia,
Yeah.
but he was winning the Masters.
Robbie Robinson,
Yep,
everybody,
yep.
you know.
Yeah, no, I don't get it. But
You're a master. You should come back.
I tell Phil Heath that all the time, you know.
you know, win it for $1 million.
Still pretty big, yeah.
Still big as hell, man.
Yeah, I actually finally got to talk to Phil for the first time ever last year at was it the Olympia? No, I think he went to the
LA Fit Expo. Yeah, we were there. We were standing in the back.
Yeah,
room.
that's where it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally got to have a conversation with him. No, he was a really cool guy. You know, you see all these things about him and how they portray him sometimes. It's like, no, he's actually a really cool guy.
He comes on the podcast pretty
I swear, if Phil just went for 6 months, he'd hurt a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
And he's what, 40, almost 47?
Yeah, in November.
It was really exciting when he did that last Olympia. I remember I was literally watching that Olympia for him because I just wanted to see what he did, you know. And it sucks when things like that happen.
Comebacks are tough, dude.
Yeah.
That's why, like, you know, all these boxers retire and then like, I'm coming out of retirement, you know. And then it's like that ring rust thing, you know. Like Conor McGregor's fighting this weekend in Vegas, you know, and he's been training out in Orange County. And it's like, how long's he been out? Like 4 years, I think he's been out right now. And like, you just hope he can have the stamina, endurance, everything, right? I mean, sometimes you need that mindset. And I felt like that with bodybuilding. I came back after tearing the bicep one year and I looked down the line, bro, and I said, fuck, I'm out of this class now, you know. I lost the back density. You think you're training hard. That's the amazing thing, you know. And then like when you get down to the nitty gritty and you look and these guys had the rhythm and the density, because that's really what is the biggest secret to bodybuilding is the density and time. And that's the, you know, like you talk about, you have the width, right? But building that thickness, especially from the side, that's where I dominated. You know, me and Ronnie were just super dense from the side. And that's just years and years of consistent training that you build that, you know, the back just gets thicker from the side.
Yeah.
So important.
And the other thing too, like you guys always train with free weights. Yeah. A lot of guys don't anymore.
So my foundation was free weights. That's what in football and stuff. Like I did all that, and then I got some beat up shoulders, and so I had shoulder surgery back in 2017 on both shoulders. And so when I was rehabbing out of it, I stuck to machines, and I became a really good bodybuilder with the machines. As far as like being in tune with feeling things, that's how I learned how to truly become one with my mind-muscle connection. And I just kind of built off of that. And so like every rep was done with purpose compared to like, say you're 3 reps in and then you finally start to get a pump. Like I can get it from the beginning on the first set. And I've applied that to every body part, even legs. That's one of the things that from the last 2 years where I got bring my legs up, like I used to be very explosive in my squats, and now there's like a certain control. I don't have to worry about like, say, whenever I barbell squat, my glutes and hammies take over. And if you look at my physique, I have really big hammies and glutes. And so it's like, well, there's a reason for that. You know, genetically speaking, the way my body takes on the weight, that's just how it's going to be. So I need machines to develop my physique in the best way.
Regan's the same way.
And
Regan has really good from the backside, but
Yes.
like for the front, he just needed more frontal, you know.
yeah, and so I actually was just on a podcast the other day where I said, it's crazy to think that some of these guys back in the 80s and 90s, even early 2000s, built their physiques off of those free weights because that is the level of genetics they were. Their bodies just built that without that crazy connection that I have to use a certain specific machine to get the most out of my body.
Yeah, but I squatted on a 2x4. So, I mean, that shows you I manipulated what
That's
it
true.
was.
That's very
and that
true.
put a
I think
lot
about
on the
that.
frontals. I think the hack squat's great. And you just talked about like the
Panel.
like the platform is. Like some people love a Cybex hack squat, for example. I know he claims it's like the best one. And some people like the flex one, the real old school flex one. I like the Icarian with a pad, with an actual foot pad was like higher up. Just worked well. I have short quads.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't like I didn't have to do 15, 20 reps. You know, I wasn't a high rep guy. Like I could do 8 reps and still grow. But like you said, it was just getting out and feeding the muscle, keeping the muscle full recovery. That was the key. I mean, just pushing lactic acid out and just putting that glycogen in there. You know, I was a carb eater. So like when I was in prep, like you are this far out, man, I was just eating like crazy, training twice a day and trying to do as little cardio as possible, but posing my ass off too. That was the most important thing is, you know, do you spend time posing consistently?
Yes, and that's something I talked about. Again, because I'm going against Nick, I know that Nick has been pretty much posed out of winning twice now from what recent events. And I'm like, okay, now obviously he could just step it up, but I made damn sure that we've been doing rounds and rounds, and not all the time, but a good amount of time I'll do it in a hot area too, where it's even harder. Because I've always said if you practice harder than you play, the game's easy. So you put yourself in the worst scenarios, you're going to be as calm as a cucumber. You're just going to be just confident in your ability to do the hard stuff isn't that hard. You know, it's I think that's where it's going to come down to, because when failing prepared praying fail. So I'm prepared to go through a 2-man call out with Nick where they run us round and round and round until one of us fades. That's where in my head that's exactly what I envision happening. And it's because it's such a big deal for someone like me to possibly beat someone like Nick. They're gonna make you want to earn it, especially knowing Steve. You know, like
say Big Steve's a judge. He's gonna make sure whoever wins it earns it.
So I'm telling you, all these things I look out for. That's the smallest details that I've been trying to pay attention to. Even looking at Nick's posing, looking at every pose he does, and how can I show it better than he does, and what is he not showing that I'm noticing he's not showing that I know I can't show. So it's gonna come down to posing.
He's legit studying. I like that.
I want to win.
Well, I know. You know, that's like a dream scenario is you standing next to Nick Walker, actually. I mean, it must be like, if I said to you, give me your dream top 3 comparison where you'd like to be in the mix of, I mean, that could be one of the guys that you've said. I mean, you're probably going to look at the top 3. Okay, who is top 3 at the Olympics? Is it Derek Lunsford? I mean, you talk about, like, he's got great shape, right? You probably have more mass. Obviously, he's 5'6", right? So, like, but he's got crazy proportions. When he puts it all together, it just, it looks right. And that's one thing about like leading into this Olympia, you know, you have Samson and you have Hadi who are, you know, and Derek, all former, and he's the current, obviously, but like there's a lot of scenarios for these guys right now. And, you know, they're not really, Derek seems to get discredit a lot. I mean, I still think, you know, if I was a betting man with him having a year off, you know, Chris in his corner, as long as he's healthy, I still think he's going to be very dangerous. But what do you think is your top 3 hose down like scenario of like being between the best of the best?
Honestly, right now, okay, because
you ever thought about that?
Yes, I have. And in this, I'm assuming this current lineup, right?
Yeah, because I just won my first Olympia. I'm like, I'm standing next to Ronnie Coleman. You know, and I got totally smoked. I was 15, I was 16, and it sucked because I was like, I went there, bro, talking to Chris Aceto, like, I'm going to get called out with Ronnie Coleman. Mm-hmm. And they did 3 guys that, so it was like him, Flex, and
Cormier. Or Kevin.
Yeah, Cormier, because he got 3rd. Cormier. Yeah, Cormier was like good that year. It was him, Flex, Cormier.
So are you asking me like who I'd want to stand
next
to?
I'm saying of the best of the best. Like,
okay, so I have 2 different answers for this, because the first one is best of the best, which is just physiques in general, and then there's physiques that I feel like my physique lines up with, right? So the best of the best scenario, I would love to stand next to Samson.
And Andrew Jack on the other side.
No, I would like to see Samson and Derek.
Yeah.
just because, well, one's an extreme completely away from my physique, and one is just, it's somewhat along the lines of mine, but just a pretty shape. I would love to stand between those two. And then if I want to throw an extra two people in, it would obviously be Nick and Martin. These guys, I see myself as far as like the flow of the physique. We're different, but there's certain like ways that we carry our muscle and stuff that I'd like to see standing next to each other.
I know, dude, but you're leaving out Hottie Chupin, man. We disrespect the shit out of Hottie
So with
Chupin.
with Hottie, my thing is, it's 100% biased. Like Hottie is an amazing bodybuilder. It's just I never cared for his physique much. It's
Because
just it's
I
just
understand that.
I
But
love him as a
we
bodybuilder.
tend to leave him out of a lot of like. I mean, we've sat there at a lot of
I think
Olympias.
that's why, though, right? Like, I don't know.
We've sat at a lot of Olympias, and if he won, you probably wouldn't have questioned it.
I'm
because
telling you-
he's a guy that when you're there in person, it just the abs and like it's just the
polish.
Comes,
Well, you know,
yeah.
we talk about consistency between you, Hottie, and Kai Green are probably some of the most consistent, like up there where if this person didn't exist, you would have had how many? So it is crazy. Like
See, and I think Hottie should have at least 4, if not 5 Olympias right now.
yeah, see, I speak of physiques that I'm drawn to outside of just bodybuilding.
I totally
criteria.
understand,
Yeah.
and that's no
Yeah.
disrespect.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly,
I don't want people to
exactly.
think like this is. We all have our
Opinion.
Like,
Yes.
dude, I didn't disrespect the Sean Rays and Kevin Leverones, who I idolized, you know. But I'm like, I'm standing next to Ronnie Coleman, and I didn't think Cormier would be third that year. He actually came in really. That was one of his best showings, but. Like you want to stand next to the best, and
Yeah.
I mean, Samson is just another dimension in size.
Yes.
I mean, if he actually put it together, I don't know how he could actually lose. I mean, have we seen the
exactly.
updates on Samson or?
I mean, I haven't seen updates.
It's one of those things.
You pay
he's-
attention to all
yeah,
this? These guys?
So Samson's huge. He has shape and everything, but it's like one of those things, right? He's a bigger version of what he has been, but it's not going to matter too much without that the good enough conditioning. And you know, Fuad said it multiple times. If he just brought the same conditioning, he'll still win. He'll beat Derek. So I mean, I think it was one of those like Ronnie Coleman responses, like "fuck this, I'm just gonna get big as fuck," so that if I do come in a little off, it's so overwhelming, it should work in my favor.
I kind of agree with him on that.
I
Because
think to an
he's
extent,
never going
right?
to get peeled like those other guys. So it's like
Play your
then
strengths.
Be the best version of yourself.
Yes,
and his
yeah.
best look was when he was round and big and conditioned
And
enough.
listen, man, you know, you can't be scared to say I'm 14 pounds bigger than last year. I mean, people might look at that and say, "Oh man, you can't do that," but they don't understand. Like, you're still fresh to the game, and I mean, you said to me, like, even like I went from, like I said, second to last to second within 2 years. That's 99, 2001, I got second. Arguably, like, I mean, Ronnie is Ronnie, but, you know, that day it was, everyone has an off day, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, and what had really changed? I mean, the weight was honestly the same. I didn't, but it's like the maturity came in and the seasoned muscle and, you know, you're still packing on the pounds, and it's like, okay, you need to really get any bigger at this point, do you think?
And no, actually, this is something I talked to Justin Compton about. I want to say it was like 2 years ago. I said, you know, Justin, I feel like I have the kind of physique a lot like Jay's, to where anything after 260, 265, I feel like it's just going to really hurt me. So I think once we bring the legs up a little bit, it's all about just letting everything mature and just bringing the thin skin. And that's exactly what we said.
250, 254 here.
Yeah.
So this is 09. I won my first Olympia at 273. Okay. A lot of different looks. But in the 50s, 5'9", it was my best. And you heard it about Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman. Everybody pushed their limitations. I still think Dexter was better
Yes.
back. But, you know, he claimed he got better in his 40s, but it's just the competition just didn't have. But, you know, Phil was better at 2011. He was his best when he was lighter and just everything was more streamlined. And that's exactly, like, I came down, but it was really hard to go from a 273 winning back down to this, where I still look at 01 and I have a more pop to the muscle, because I did have to beat my body down a little more with the cardio I wasn't used to doing. It was different protocol. I trained with Hani instead of Chris Aceto. just anytime you switch a coach like that and you just, that little bit of effort, I think it makes a difference. Plus they use more anti-estrogens at the time.
Oh, okay.
So it was something I never really, that makes a difference sometimes, especially when you hold water on stage, right?
Yeah. And I actually just talked about this to Paul, my training partner, and I said, it's actually really exciting for me because these last, 6 years now, it was all about size, bring size, push the food, all this stuff. So it's like there's going to be a different approach to this.
Refinement.
And it's pure, like we just talked about Jordan, right? It's that for me now. I'm happy with how everything's looking. And I'm sure you're going to add a tiny bit here and there. Obviously, you're training,
Just can't help it, yeah.
But it's the part where I can just focus on eating the meals. I won't get uncomfortable with food anymore. It's, I've eaten this much, and now you're asking me to just eat here. Okay, cool, I could do that. And you're gonna already be a better bodybuilder, right? You're gonna train smarter. You're not getting lost in the ego of things, and it's like, I just gotta contract my muscles better every workout. Like not worrying about how much weight's on the bar, and just letting time take its course and having fun with training. I'm excited to be there, to be honest.
The biggest obstacle that you'll have to deal with is being a superstar, meaning you start getting the deals, and you get the appearances, and you get the balance of, like, you talk about structure. And like right now you're structured, your regimen, you have your food, you carry your food. What happens when you start doing those international trips, when you go to the FIBOs and you go to like these expos around the world, trying to balance that, that's the hard part. I was a victim of my success. I could have been a much better bodybuilder if I did not take on the business, but the business put me in the position I am today, right? You as the youngsters now look at, I want to mimic certain careers, and you probably look at one of mine as like, well, Jay did it the right way, right? He's still living the bodybuilding. He was able to come up, come down. I mean, that's kind of how, like, that was my whole game plan, was to have more success than be the best bodybuilder in the world. I never thought I'd be the best. I didn't realize till I got second to Ronnie Coleman for the first time, wow, I can actually win this thing. Listen, I was 27. I got second for the first time. I won my first at 33. So for me, I had to wait a lot longer. I wanted to be done at 30. I turned pro at 23. I'm like, you look at these careers, it's like a 10-year span, right?
Yeah.
And I heard Regan talking on his thing. He said, dude, I've been a pro for 10 years. Turned pro super young.
16, yeah.
In
Brazil.
Too.
Yeah, so I'm thinking in my head, like, wow, that's usually a timeline of pros.
Whole
Most
career.
don't go at longer than 10 years.
She asked me.
What's the span?
Yeah, and I said, if you can give me 10 years from when I turned pro, and I can do as much as I can.
And what year are you in now?
This is year 3.
And how old are you?
So fast, bro.
I'm 32.
It goes by so fast.
It's already going by fast. I blink like...
Because you push the time, because you're like, I just want to get to this show.
The next goal.
Now you're like, then it's going to be, what's the next window, right? Olympia. We already know, you're already counting the time. Like, okay, so if I win Tampa 7 weeks, it gives me a week or two to kind of regroup, and then, or
then
if you do
Olympia,
another
and then
show,
overseas, and then you want to try to get that 750 in Ohio?
Yesterday, I was actually listening to one of your jaywalks, and you were talking about how you didn't really like competing, and it was because it literally took away from the successes that you were achieving. You couldn't even enjoy it. You're just thinking about, well, I just did this, and now I got to make sure I do this.
I couldn't wait to get back to business. And that's what, like, I thrived on that, because I knew, like, listen, you work your ass off in the gym, and then you stand on a stage in front of 7 or 10 judges that kind of determine your fate. Granted, I was on the plus side of it. I'm not, like, there's shows I won or lost, or I could have vice versa, right? I mean, 07 Victor, 04 Arnold with Chris Cormier. Like, those were iffy shows, right? And I think Dexter Jackson, he could have, he won in 08, but like, he had some really good showings, Dexter Jackson. He's very, very consistent. But I think, for certain people thrive on different things. I love the training. I train 7 days a week still. I'm a maniac when it comes to training. Now I exercise, so I'm not training like what you'd think I do now, but I just love to work out because it's better for my mind. It's better for my structure. And like when I'm stressed out or I have things to do, like I got up this morning, did, early workout this morning, and You know, sometimes I'll walk in the afternoon, just a little cardio, but it's all about fitness now for me, like trying to stay fit. And you'll get to that point, which you can't even imagine because you think, man, I'm just at the beginning of this, which you are. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're 40 and either you're still going or, you know, don't ever dictate, I'm going to be done at this age because there's so many variables of success and like, you don't know where you're going to be. What if you're winning the Mr. Olympia in, you know, 2 years or 3 years and you're on a run?
Yeah, you know, I've actually been asked that question pretty recently. So, Joe, how long do you plan on doing this? And I've always said, as long as I'm able
Don't
to.
answer it. Don't answer it. So he doesn't know the answer, right? I said 30. So
I was going to say.
yeah. I used to tell my wife, 30 years old, we're done. You know, we're finished.
I think you used to like almost like be disrespectful with it. You're like, if I'm competing past this age,
yeah. I told Phil Heath, I said, dude, if I'm competing past 40, just shoot me, please. and he came back at 40 to compete, you know. So we kind of had this joke, and he laughed because I quit at 40. That was it. You know, it was my last Olympia. And I just went, I was dealing with Phil Heath. If I didn't have to deal with Phil Heath, I probably wouldn't, because I went into that 13 Olympia thinking, man, you know, Sean Roden's good, but I can beat him. Dexter, you know, he's small or whatever, you know. But when I got out there, those guys outclassed the shit out of me. And Big Rami was in his first one then, you know.
I distinctly remember you standing next to Rami, and I was like, oh, fuck.
And I beat Rami, you know, which is,
You know, it's funny.
and Rolly too.
So I've never stood next to those guys, you know, but yeah, my first pro show was the Cal 24, where I took 15th, right? So at this time, I think Tonio was 8th or 9th in the world already. Yeah. So he was the front runner for the show, and I see him backstage for the first time in person. And I remember we take our clothes off, we start pumping up, and I look over to the right, and I look at Paul, and I'm like, so I'm not winning.
Really?
I saw him, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm beating him.
See, I used to look at Ronnie Coleman like, I got this.
I don't know. See,
yeah,
like,
but hold on.
And
you had the goods, though. He's still coming up.
I mean, people like
I took 15th, right?
I know, but like, and you probably never want to be in that position again, right?
No.
Hell no, right?
It's a horrible feeling.
Hey, man, losing is really good in life. Nobody wants to lose anymore.
But that's really losing.
Yes.
That's really losing. Like when I was, I sat in my room after 15 out of 16, and with Chris and my ex-wife, and we were sitting there, and I said, "Am I good? Am I just not?" And Chris Aceto asked my ex-wife at the time, like, "Is he just not good? Like, I don't. What am I seeing?" And they're both like, "You look phenomenal." So I'm like, fuck it. And I went back and 6 months later won the Night of Champions New York Pro and beat Paul Dillette and these guys that had beaten me at that 99 Olympia, you know, and just that's where I started the run. I moved to California, so it was a huge, talk about home life. I know you mentioned that. Going from Massachusetts, I moved in like November of 99, and then I trained for my first show in Orange County, and I'm like, a whole nother life. You wake up smiling every day with this, dude, you're in the best place in the world, you know, sun's out every day, and
that was huge. My family dynamic. Like I stepped off that stage, on the stage when I was in the third call out. I tell people that I felt sorry for myself for like a good 10, 15 seconds. And I said, this is probably the most embarrassing moment I've ever had. And I'm like, thought the same thing. Man, I don't belong up here.
Because you smoked it up until then, right?
Yeah.
Everything you did.
Yeah. And like I said, the first show, I took second as a natural athlete against enhanced people, won the second one, won the third one, and people attempt national shows multiple times if they even get it. So when that happened, I was like, what the hell? And so once I started being a little bit more logical with myself, I just started telling myself, I'm like, you know what, Joe, there's levels to this shit, and you've gotten this far purely based on your genetics and your ability to do what you're doing. I'm like, but there's time that you haven't even put in that these guys have, and you're selling yourself short on what you're capable of. You just haven't given yourself the time. So I got off stage with a different mindset, but on top of that, I was with someone before my wife now, and you actually, when I saw you at the Fit Expo, LA Fit Expo, you told me to keep going. You told me the story, the same one you just did, and when it came down to it, it wasn't the competing you were even doing it for. You just loved the bodybuilding. You loved the life, the structure, And that was another thing I walked away with before you even told me that. That was the mindset. I'm like, well, I'm going to do this anyways. So why not just enjoy it? Stop putting all this damn pressure on myself. And then I eventually met her. She became my wife. I had my kids. So now my home life, my mental space was way better. It wasn't just bodybuilding and trying to navigate through life. Now I was enjoying life alongside bodybuilding. And so those things just set me up to where my whole physique changed. And it was just doing it for the right reasons, and the right people were in my life. And yeah, the rest was history for me till right now. Now in front of Jay.
Sometimes you need a slice of that humble pie.
Yeah. But it was,
yeah, but
everything.
you probably, I mean, I know, like, you obviously you met her and like things have changed positive in that way, but like as far as the physique and the training and the diet, you probably, I mean, like you said, you plan to come in that way so you could hold the muscle, not diet it off. I felt like, you know, we keep bringing up Regan, but every year it seems like, you know, he makes progress and then he diets it off. Like he didn't season it long enough, right? And I think that happens a lot. You need to season muscle sometimes, especially when you pack on quick and you're still in that process right now, right? And now hopefully this is a mature level where you can hold the legs, you know, if there's any like weaker body parts that you like, hey, I need to improve this. You realize what it is, you know, and don't diet them off. Sounds like their protocol is great because less cardio right there alone. I'm like, okay, he's going to be fuller. Which, you know, we don't really worry about conditioning because you've never showed up out of shape that we've seen last year, right? You know what condition you need to be in, right?
Yeah. My last check-ins were on Monday.
How often you do them?
Right now, because of the drastic change in my physique, it's like every 3-4 days. Because he's usually it's about that for this time, around 4 weeks out. But we started doing that frequent check-in like around 8 or 9 weeks out because my body was just blitzing through things. It's like, damn, like I need to refeed you sooner. And like the smallest changes, like I would drop 3-4 pounds. Oh shit, like let's feed you back up. So that's very new too. But yeah, I wanted you to see my check-ins when we're done. I'm excited to show you.
On a different tip, will Justin Compton please come on our show?
Oh, he will. You know, it's funny. He actually, last year, he came to the Olympia with us. We come out every year. I wasn't in it, but we'll always come out. Yeah. So this year should be different because I plan on being in it. So he'll be out here.
Yeah. You know. He's like one of the guys that, you know, obviously when people come out, we kind of get word and we'll reach out. But he's someone we'd both love to have
he'd
him
love
come
to.
on.
Yeah, he'd love to. Yeah. It's that coaching relationship now where he's with me at every show. There's not a show he won't go to now, which is really cool. He regretted not being there when I won USA's. He was like, damn it, like he called me and he's just like, you know, this is one of the biggest regrets I've ever
getting
had.
to Tampa's easy for him.
Yeah, that was easy. But he went to Texas with me last year too. So he was there for the Cal, he was there for Tampa last year, and he was there.
Where's he in Port Charlotte or
St. Lucie?
Port St. Lucie.
It's near
It's on the East Coast.
Okay.
Where
Chris
Raw
and
is.
everyone was.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's still like 4 hours away from Tampa, right? That's like 3-4 hours.
There's no easy way to
so.
get there from where he's at. There's no like you either have to go up to Orlando or down. There's no
That's from Tampa,
easy way.
you know.
Oh,
Yeah, I grew up in Southwest Florida.
Oh, okay.
So
Man, when I went out there
I've
to
crisscrossed
compete-
that state more than the covered wagons did out here years ago in the 1800s.
I can't do that humidity, man. That shit. I walk outside and I feel like I'm on prep when I'm not on prep.
You legitimately have to take like 5 showers a day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So you have a whole game plan, like where you're going to stay and like gyms and stuff like that. You already map it out?
Yeah. So last year we stayed close to is it MI-40?
Yeah.
Downtown.
We're not too far from there. That was cool. We actually saw Niall, One Punch guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. That guy is
Physique, right?
Yeah.
Did he do the show last year?
Yeah, he won.
He won it, yeah.
That was the first
I'm
time
just
he won.
wondering what the lineup is going to be now.
have
that
no idea.
It's like they're going to start stacking the show. Like they'll be stacked up now since there's only a few qualifiers.
There's only 3 more qualifiers in the U.S., so they're going to be stacked. They're 3 weekends in a row.
I mean, that's essentially what the Open, right? Like, so that's what was exciting. You know, I've always wanted to go to the Olympia, beating some guys that like.
I've been there.
These guys are in the Olympia. You know, like it's not their first time, and they're usually within that. From what Tampa and Texas usually bring, it's like that 6 to like 15th spot, or sorry, 6 to like 12th spot. So I wanted to win at that level to kind of give me an idea where I'm at. So say I beat Nick, I'm like, damn, all right, I'm in that. So
that takes you to a whole nother level.
Gives you an idea where you stand.
When you mention like levels to things, like when you went into that show, there's like, in my mind, there's like, when Antonio beat you, there's like 5 more levels to that.
Yes.
And Nick's at that, he's flirting with that top level.
Yeah, man, I tell everybody that it was, for me, a blessing that I didn't go to the Olympia last year and then Jordan kept me from it, because Jordan took 12th, and there's nothing wrong with that. But my goal was to always be my first Olympia top 10. That's like a huge goal for me. So I would have been right where Jordan was. So I'm glad he kept me out of it.
What did he finish?
He was 12th.
Do you think Antonio will move up? Do you think he can be in the top 6 this year?
So Paul asked me this, my training partner. I don't think so, because these guys are so big and so conditioned. Like, it's one thing I don't like when Dexter was in it, right? Like, guys were big, but not all of them, and his conditioning was so good. I don't think that he has the same luxury. I think he needs a little more.
What was he last year?
8th, I think.
8th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it'll be tough for him to move in that top 6. But if one of the top guys slip,
Are you impressed with William Bonnick's performance?
no. I love William, and I just think it's one of those things that he's at that physique. It's not going to get any better, and everyone else is still getting better. So he's kind of like
won a few shows, Obviously, the lineup was not as deep, but
that's kind of what
I know what he
I'm at
means
as
by
far
that.
as
Like not impressed. Like obviously he's
Structure's
44.
only so
Looking
big.
like that at 44 is crazy.
Okay, yeah, I want to make sure
because he was second in the
impressive.
Olympia. Yeah, he was second before.
Yeah,
when Brandon Curry won.
Yes, so he was that good. But now, I mean, look, you're seeing Brandon. He's at 7th now in the world, right? And he was a winner at one point. So the level of talent in that top 5, 6 it's really hard.
That top, to me, the top 4, the Hottie, Andrew, Samson, Derek, that top 4 is real hard to crack.
Think about that. Samson took 4th, and that was not a good look. Nick got 6th with his worst look. So, see, even I know going in, like, that's who I'm going against, So it's just like.
And when Derek was 2 years before, Derek was slightly off, and he fell to 3rd.
That's
any one of those guys. That's so. Yeah. There's no one that's ahead of the others. It all depends on.
But Martin's a big question mark, in my opinion.
So that's somebody like, okay, so between Martin, there was somebody else that I was thinking about, but it was Derek, right? Martin and Derek are very similar to me in the aspect of I feel like when things get to them, it hurts their physique really bad. Their body reflects it really bad. And so they can either be great or their mind holds them back and it hurts them. So Derek is that good, but everybody has a weakness, right? And sometimes it's the mental thing. Like we saw Martin take 4th in the world, and then in Prague, that look was incredible. Okay. But look how bad he slipped when things slipped in his, outside of bodybuilding. And so it's like, man, like that's where people, their mental toughness is a huge genetic portion of all this too. So those guys
it's super important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super, super important.
Well, I see it's like somebody can be put through the ringer and still show up good. Like they're just sharp in that way where they don't let the outside noise in. Phil Heath carried that really well. Like that's hard to do. And he was number 1, right? So
he got a lot of negativity. I mean, almost as bad as what Derek's getting now.
Yes.
Like people just, and sometimes that's hard to deal with, like, because you have to kind of prove yourself, right? And, sometimes it's just putting your head down and just kind of going at it.
One of the things I think it was at the Olympia, like Derek supposedly had like a anxiety attack, right, backstage.
Yeah.
That's stress driven. That's like
that shit's real though. It feels like you're about to die.
100%. But see, like that's how much he allowed pressure to get to him. And understandably so. It's just again, like right, some people just thrive under that, and some people crumble. Luckily, he was able to pull it out, but he got really lucky.
Yeah.
So, it's just a huge aspect of it, I think.
Anything else?
No. What? Anyone you want to thank?
My wife.
She's sitting patiently here. So.
Yeah. No. She. So, one of the things you talked about was like your successes, right, and how it could take away from the placings of bodybuilding, how good you could have been. But at the same time, like moments like this, right, I kept telling Manager Matt, right, whatever you guys, however you want to set it up, I'll make it happen. Because in my head, that's where I'm going to be. And to be versatile in bodybuilding is a huge skill. So the more I practice that now, you know, and then her being able to leave our son behind with my mom to watch him and stuff and be able to do that, it helps me a lot. She doesn't put any stress on me, so that's why I say thank you to her. Obviously, you know, PJ's helped me.
He called me about you, you know.
Yeah, man, I love PJ. PJ's a hell of a guy.
We're trying to get him also on the podcast. I just got to get, like, he has a lot. I've known him forever, you know, but I remember he called me. He's like, hey, what do you think about this guy, Joe? He's pretty impressive, right? Did he tell you?
Yeah,
he called me.
told me.
Yeah.
He sent me a screenshot, too, of a message. And I was like, oh, no way. He was like, how's this for motivation? I was like, I'm pretty fucking motivated.
Well, you know, because he's another guy vicariously, like, wanted to make the big time.
Yeah.
I know he had a good body, man. He just never was able to, you know, and obviously business took him in a different direction, you know. But he was a huge fan of your success last year, you know, so.
Yeah,
So,
PJ, he checks in on me, talks about my son all the time, how my son's a tank, you know. So just, it's funny, man. Like it was cool because we had children at the same time. Like, his son's 2 months older than mine, and it's just one of those things we're walking together right now on and stuff. And but yeah, the last person I want to thank is Paul, my training partner. Honestly, I've brought him up on other podcasts and how literally like I'm here today because of that man, and how he pretty much bet on me and saw something in me from the beginning. And
Did you hear the story you paid for Justin Compton to train?
yeah,
him?
he paid for my coaching. I was hurting for money. I was damn near jobless, you know. Yeah, Paul was willing to invest in me because he believed in me.
He said this kid's like got it, you know. Yeah. And he paid fees. Like, just give him 3 months or something.
Oh yeah, 3 months, and then pretty much like Justin was like, well, you're just throwing your money away because anybody that gives something for free isn't going to take it serious. But I took it so seriously because I couldn't believe he would do that. Because we were good friends, but it wasn't like where we're at now, right? So him doing that for me was like, damn, like this guy, that's extremely selfless. So I didn't take it as a small amount, and I took it really seriously. That prep damn near broke me because I was going through so much. But I'm like, man, if this guy was willing to do that, like I'm not going to let him down. That was the hardest prep ever. That was the first time I ever got that shredded while going through some life stuff. And I had to go back to work in this physical job that it was very heavily laborious while doing like 75 minutes of stairs on low body fat, talking to these high volume accounts where I was dealing with a lot of money.
Yeah, what was it? What was the job? I remember.
Cintas.
Okay.
I was a sales service representative, but it was physical labor. Like I was flipping mats and picking up heavy loads of clothes, dirty clothes, carrying like big loads of like clothes on hangers, hanging them up in lockers, walking at least 3 to 5 miles daily.
So it was like uniforms or something?
Yes, yeah, uniform rental.
Yeah. You know that? Or
No.
I've listened to a couple of podcasts.
Yeah, thank you. But I promised myself if I'm going to do this, I will never do that again. So,
that's what I said. Everyone said, what did you do when you were up and coming, you know? And I was broke in college. I worked a security job. I did golf course maintenance, and they'd put me on a mower, and I'd have my cooler strapped on there. So I could go out and I'd just eat my meals, you know? And I'm like, man, honestly, I just worked a job enough to afford my bills to get the chicken breast and a piece of shit car. And as long as I could train and whatever, and thank goodness I like broke through and got a contract in bodybuilding because that's what put me over the top. And Chris Aceto never charged me, bro, from day one. He did all my stuff. And I said to him, I said, listen, you know, you're doing this for free. He's like, I know you're going to be able to like take care of it someday. So once I start, he's like, wait, I'm going to wait till you win some prize money. So it's like we won the Night of Champions together first time. You know, I paid him and I bought my first house in Orange County.
Yeah.
You know, it was my first. He's like, you have to buy a house. It was like the first thing. Like, okay, I won $15,000. It was $15,000 back in 2000.
yeah, no,
And that was a lot of money then, you know. So I bought a condo. I paid like $220 for it. And that was my
Too bad you didn't
house.
have that condo now.
It's worth about $1 million. It was a lease over here.
damn.
I know there's this guy that argues there's no way you bought a condo for $220 or something. Some guy wants to always argue on here. So I paid $218 actually. That's the actual price. I was renting an apartment for $1,400 a month, and back then that was like shell shock to me because I left Massachusetts renting $400 a month. So to pay
man.
$1,400. I thought had a big contract at the time, a 6-figure deal, but like, man, you get out to California, you start spending money, and it's like between the food and everything else, it's like everything went into that.
Yeah, people ask me how I've made it out here in Cali, and I live a pretty simple life. I live with Paul. We have our own place getting ready. That's just getting constructed, but what's it called? I don't do anything wild. Whatever you see, like in bodybuilding, like that's what it is. And then I do have sponsors now, and then I have my little training business. So it's like I have multiple sources now of income that I'm able to provide for them. And like I still take on clients because that's a big chunk of money that's really easy for me to show up 3, 4, max 5 hours a day if I want, and I just hang out with the person, just tell them what to do. But
Did you ever move to Vegas one day since?
So that's actually what we've talked about, to be honest, because we're a 4-hour drive away. And the only reason I haven't moved out here already was because her parents live in Cali and they have the house out here, but they're more in Cali because of their tax business. Mm-hmm. So if they ever decide to fully come over here, we'll come with them. I just want Jax to have his grandparents. My dad's not around, so that's my way of kind of giving back to my son.
So your mom's still living at where
yes,
you are?
but wherever I go, she's coming.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we're at. I always say I want to take care of my mom, make sure she's good. So wherever I go, she'll be with me.
True Mexican family, bro.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm like, Angie's Puerto Rican, and she's like, we just bought another house, and we're like, it's like we'll have the whole family there before we know it.
Slowly but surely. Yeah.
I remember the first time we went away, and we had an Airbnb, and like all of a sudden, like this person, the cousin shows up, and their mom, and then the dad comes. I'm like, holy moly, like. We had all these people showing up,
Fortunately for me, my wife's family is far away. No, they're great people, but they're in South Africa.
You're gonna need a big house.
Yeah, no, it's the goal.
But you'll eat good. That's the main thing,
yeah.
For sure, you'll be eating good,
Yeah, no, so, I mean, just keeping that family dynamic together, I want my son to be around his family. It's something I didn't have much growing up. It was just my little immediate family.
Of course, yeah.
So he gets so much love from them, and I just want to make sure that as long as her parents are still around, that he gets to enjoy the time with them. So if they want to come out here, I'm coming with them, because I love it out here.
You have a lot of great gyms. You're going to try out some different stuff. I know why you're here, but we appreciate you coming on, making the time. I know we've been asking for it for a minute, but it won't be the last time, that's for sure. So
for sure, thank you.
We're wishing you the best in 4 weeks. Is it 4 weeks?
4 weeks, a little less now, but grind time.
Can't wait to see the showdown, man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that final call out. I'm telling you guys.
It's gonna work you.
Yes, they are, and I'm ready for it.
I'm gonna tell Steve we had Joe on today.
I'm gonna tell Steve you said he won't work you guys.
I hear Justin's like he's like, dude, I almost quit,
Yeah.
Listen, I've been on that stage, bro, where like one more round and I was like, I don't know if I can make this. Because you condition yourself, but you never plan for those lights, like you said, the heat.
Yes.
Put heat lamps over you.
And the adrenaline of like going through those poses and hitting it. And like, you have to think everything like, oh, my glutes, hamstrings. There's so much to posing that peeking the biceps right and the back double and right. I mean, that's like you guys, your back pose is going to be huge in that show. So everything needs to be precise.
It's we've been practicing holds, right? And I'll never forget at USA's in particular because Steve judged my show. And I don't know why. I think it just helps me keep my poise, right? I did my back double. And on this back double, I started counting in my head. And we were practicing 10, like true 10-second holds.
That's how I did mine too.
And when I'm back in my back double, which is pretty much what won me the show, I'm counting. And we get to 10 Mississippis, and then he finally turns us around. Like, damn, I literally prepared to the fucking
just me.
Yeah, but the adrenaline, all that stuff is a big difference, man. You know what I mean? Plus, you're not when you're going through all those rounds, you're not dehydrated 10 pounds, or whatever.
Yes, yeah. So,
well, while you're out here in Vegas, do it outside in the sun.
Just walking up here, I was dying.
Can't get any hotter than this.
I think every gym has a posing room now, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just get out in the sun with 120 degrees.
Yeah, my wife's gonna be calling my rounds, so she'll hold me.
You're counting it today, or yeah. Well, we appreciate you, man. So
Thank you.
good luck,
being
and
here,
keep
guys.
crushing it, man.
Yes, sir.